What's up, guys? Welcome back to the MontyVerse. Today we are checking out the newest episode of My Adventures with Superman. I'm excited. Nikki, are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this. Last week's was so good.
It's full of anime references and multiverse conundrums with our boy Mixie. I can't wait to see what the heck this episode's gonna be. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, guys. Starting episode 8 of My Adventures with Superman, 0 Day Part 1. Interesting. Starting now. We got our first two-parter. Even though they kind of played the premiere off as a two-parter, but it was more of a...
How do you know it's not a three-parter?
Oh, snap. You're right. Oh, it is probably a three-parter. Silver Banshee.
What's going on?
Heat Wave.
Why?
Oh.
Today, you will reap. It's moving day.
Oh, snap.
I thought they were going to become the Suicide Squad.
Well, technically they are kind of a proto version of the Suicide Squad in this universe, because technically this is Task Force X, this division, right? In the first episode, they said that. So I guess, in a way, you're right. I love how Clark just has that one shirt that he sleeps in. That's so relatable.
Hello? Close the door right now. Come away from the window. Hello? Help! Huh?
Oh.
Help! Help me!
Aww.
Working.
Oh, man.
Negative. After this operation,
Man, that's
Superman
gotta
will cease
suck
to be
being
a
able to
problem.
hear everything.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Super hearing.
General.
Or maybe that's positive in this case.
Yeah.
Oh. 500 new followers?
Whoa.
Oh, you have no idea, Jimmy. I have super hearing.
This is so going on Flamebird.
Oh my gosh.
It's nuts. I can hear cat and tree.
Oh no.
I can hear everyone. And Jimmy. They have problems.
I think he does. Oh my god, all the coffee. That's like me.
You been sleeping much, buddy? Okay, this is a lot for a Monday. Maybe we just go. 1 million new followers?
Whoa!
Oh.
Never mind. Keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
That's kind of a dick move, though. He's definitely exploiting him.
I mean, yeah. I don't think it's exploit. Whoa.
Aww. That's really sweet, but that's also a lot to clean up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Aww.
Aww. He would.
Hark.
He would be the type of dude that celebrates a 1 week anniversary.
And with that much.
Oh, the orb.
Lane, good, you're here. Come with me, quickly.
Why? What's going on?
Did he not want to know why the room was filled with flowers?
But I also need you to not freak out.
Why would I freak out?
It's Vicki Vale!
Oh!
The reporter who broke the Queen Industries inheritance scandal.
Queen
Took
Industries.
down the Falcones.
Like
Harry,
Oliver?
Do you even know how many
Yeah,
awards she's won?
Very
Falcones.
impressive.
Neat. I've
That's
got
weird.
a poster of me in my office. And I've
Okay, Vicki
So is she normally this conceited?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
was number 2.
Me. That was me.
I still have pictures from then.
I love young Perry.
He'll be your photographer.
Fantastic.
It's also the fact that she went through the trouble of having those older pictures put on her phone.
Yes.
That will not be a problem, Chief.
Don't call me that.
I will crush this
Oh,
assignment.
she's gonna.
We're writing about the #1 greatest danger to Metropolis. Superman.
Whoa. Well, she lives in Gotham. Can we really blame her?
What do you mean you lost him? We need to know his whereabouts.
Ooh.
Hey there. Hey, it's okay.
Oh, that's so wholesome.
Honey, where are you? Libby!
Aww.
That's so wonderful.
Superman's an overpowered vigilante who doesn't answer to anyone.
That's kind of the same sentiment that Ivo had.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you wanted our help, right? We know Metropolis and the people in it better than anyone.
Well, that and it annoyed Perry. I love it. All right, kids, what do you got?
Whoa, hot dog.
Flip Johnson, woman of business.
A literal child.
Sorry, I don't have much time. An invisible man is running around, and I think
God.
he's connected to the general. I need to find him.
Ooh, I bet one of my 1 million followers will know where he is.
Careful.
Aww.
Oh, ha, ha.
Superman's no hero. He's the end of the world.
Whoa.
Tell me everything.
Alex, who a lot of people thought it could be this universe's version of Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to where you came
Oh.
Superman wiped out good American jobs.
What?
If he really wanted to hurt us, what could we do about it?
Wow.
Not all of us share your faith.
Yikes.
I got what I needed. Thanks, Alex. I'll be in touch.
I mean, that seems a little Lex-ish to me. Oh.
Huh?
Heck! You could have killed someone!
Oh my gosh, I know what's gonna happen here. Oh, Libby.
I'm sorry.
I feel like this is kind of a stupid thing for people to blame him for, because like the worst case scenario is he just accidentally got hit by the truck.
We need to stop her,
Accidentally,
or talk
I mean,
to Perry, or
from people's perspective, it looked like he rammed into the truck. That's what it looked like. That's what it could have looked like because he sped right into that truck.
I guess, but it was more like he was coming from the side from.
I mean, but think about all the other stuff that people have just watched. Like he's crashing into the ground.
I ran into some trouble.
You ran into a truck.
See?
He should go back to where he came from.
Oh.
take a break from being Superman and just try being normal?
Oh.
Normal.
What a gut punch. Oh.
Oh, bitch. He saved his life.
I think I have a feeling this is a trap.
They took him into an underground facility with their other prisoners.
Oh, okay. Ah. Okay, maybe it wasn't a trap.
Everyone hold on. I'm here to help.
Oh! Oh, it was a trap!
Can you guess what the job is? It's
You're right.
getting back at...
Oh! Oh!
Did you
Wow.
really think you could ruin my life without any consequences?
Oh! Oh!
I found a new backer for my parasite tech, and they hate you as much as I do. Not done with you yet.
We'll talk to Perry.
Whoa, did you see what Vicki Vale just posted?
Oh no.
The Ugly Truth About Superman by Vicki Vale, the Gotham Gazette's new editor-in-chief?
She used us to get promoted.
Lois.
Oh!
Come on.
Ah! Oh my gosh! Come on, Clark! Oh! Yeah, you got him. Oh!
I'm dead.
Oh!
You're done.
Was a trap.
They've taken Clark.
No! No!
Right. Oh, wait. Let's look at the credits.
Oh my gosh. Maximum and Alex and father. Okay. My God, no pictures either.
I know, but that's clearly the point.
It's so, oh my God, what an episode. Like, how is it possible that 8 episodes into this show that we're not even at the best episodes yet? Because this might be the best episode of the series so far.
It's definitely the most upsetting.
Let's look at it as a whole. Like, let's look. Okay, there's so much in this episode. We have to take this piece by piece. Let's be rational. Let's calm this down. Slow this down. All right. First off, I want to praise Jack Quaid's performance in this episode. Mm-hmm. He is fantastic. He has been good all season long, but when he shows so many different variations on Superman in this episode. He has the manic hilarity of when he's first developing his super senses, to the calm, quiet collectedness when he's helping Libby find her parents, to the hurt in his voice when Lois essentially triggers that inner turmoil he's been experiencing for the entire season. Just such a great vocal performance that really does an amazing job at creating such an iconic portrayal of Superman, such a very vulnerable and fragile version of a very indestructible, nearly invulnerable character.
No, absolutely. And I think that's like the most important thing, because I know that there's kind of the stereotype of how good and pure and perfect he is. And the fact that he adds the layers to him, which I think is what we were kind of expecting going in, like especially this late into the season. But he still delivered on all of those cylinders.
Absolutely. Let's talk in terms of episode. I think this episode might be my favorite one of the season.
That's crazy to me. Like, not because it wasn't great, but because all of them have been, like, if not like really solid, amazing.
See, because I think this does an amazing job at kind of playing this other episodes. They juggled other things while telling Superman and Lois Lane stories. I feel like this episode was from beginning to end a Superman story, and they cherry-picked a lot of things from Superman comics, which they've done already throughout the season, but this had a lot of lore and story behind it. For example, like Clark's development of his super senses. Like any other version of this character kind of handles that pretty quickly. We saw Man of Steel, he struggled with it but then got a grip over it. So to kind of have him be hit with this burden when he's kind of just starting out in his career, when he's not a child or he's not a more developed Superman, we could see how that makes him vulnerable as both a person and a hero. And I really like that aspect of it. Also, they do the old I have to save everyone theme that we've seen tackled dozens of times throughout animation, comics, and live action. And I really like the way they handled it here, because in attempting to save everyone, he really fails twice.
Right, but it's also kind of tragic in the sense because unless I totally miss it, they're trying to imply that he's just discovering his super hearing now. And he is at a point where he doesn't know how to turn it off. So it's also kind of against his will in some ways.
Yeah, I think what the episode is trying to tell us is for the first couple of days he was unable to turn it off, and then he gained some control over it.
Yeah, but like I guess you can then argue that he was like kind of shackled to his morals in a sense, and that he felt like he had to do it though. Yeah,
because at that point he can't sleep. All these people crying out for help. He's constantly, trying his best to save them. And in doing so, yes, he's fulfilling his moral obligations and his obligations as a hero, but by doing so, he's actually hindering himself in the future because he's running himself down. So you're really left with this, and it is so amazing because this show never outright says it. It's all left for you to infer, right? Clark's left with this hard choice: is I have to learn I can't save everyone, but I refuse to accept that fact.
Yeah.
And we've seen it tackled a dozen different ways in a dozen different mediums. Like in Superman the movies, probably my favorite interpretation of it, where Clark's dad, he hears his dad dying of a heart attack. His dad dies right in front of him of a heart attack. And this person with godlike abilities is unable to save the one person that, or one of the two people that meant the most to him at that point in his life. And he just has to watch his father die in front of him. And it's so tragic, but it teaches Clark a valuable lesson. He has to save as many people as he can, but he'll never be able to save everyone.
Which is just ultimately kind of a control issue, which I think is super relatable just to anyone in general. But I think, like you said, especially when you feel like you have this certain level of omnipotence and I can literally do anything. Oh, except you actually can't.
Yeah, and I think, but I don't think he views it as like, oh, I'm omnipotent, I can do anything. I think in his eyes, he views it as, I have this gift, I have to try. I have to try and save everyone.
Right,
because
he feels like he has the capability.
Yeah, it's more of an obligation and a burden than it is a burden of obligation than it is like, I'm the best, I can do this because I'm better than everyone. Right? Because that's Superman. He's just so damn wholesome. He's so wholesome.
I know. Oh my god, like that scene, especially when, I mean, now it's almost cuter. It's when he gives her the signal flower, like he's just meeting up with them super briefly.
It's so cute. And that's such a Clark move, especially this Clark. This Clark is definitely more, I don't know what the word is, because all Clarks are really sweet and romantic.
Wholesome, naive.
Yeah, he's young and in love, and he has that very young, because a lot of times when Lois and Clark get together in mediums, they're older, they're in their late 20s or early 30s. This Clark's like a really young guy. He's in his first, what we are to assume, his first serious relationship. He feels like he can trust this person implicitly, and he just wants to shower her with affection. And that, to me, is such a, as someone who's also kind of a romantic, I really was like, that's so adorable and really cute, and I really like that aspect of the character. And we got that in one of the darkest episodes of the show so far, the darkest.
And this is the problem. I know that there's more to come, obviously, and the show has like done such a great job with its writing. It's also so upsetting at the
It's
same
so
time.
upsetting because realistically what this episode is, it's Clark failing twice. He's failed as, we see him fail as Clark Kent, and then we immediately see him fail as Superman, which is heartbreaking. We really watch this character go on two separate trajectories with two different versions of himself. As Clark, he was searching this entire season to just be normal and to find his place in the world and to feel like he belongs. And we see him fail in that aspect when Lois, even though it's coming from a place of, she means well by saying it, she says, why don't you just try being normal for a little bit? That in psychology is called a trigger, ladies and gentlemen. These issues of inferiority and complex feelings of self-doubt, it cut right through that bulletproof Kryptonian skin.
Right. It's just the implication that there's something currently wrong with him as a person.
Yes.
Where you can make the argument like, okay, he obviously should have taken care of himself better and handled the situation, maybe could have handled things differently. But it has that implication that it's at his core, like, you are broken in some way. Please, like, do something different now.
And that is the whole reason why he didn't tell Lois and Jimmy in the first place. He would want them to view him differently, and then for her to turn around, the person that he loves, and say, hey, why don't you just try being normal for a little bit? Oh, you want me to be normal, meaning I'm not normal.
Right. Which,
it cuts like a dagger.
And again, like, yeah, her intention was absolutely not there to do that, but it's understandable why.
Yeah, and then in the inverse of that, we see as the episode progresses, Clark begins to fail as Superman because he fails through his own means, right? He chooses to exhaust himself by trying to save everyone. And as heartbreaking as this is, it's a catch-22. It's you're never going to be able, he's never going to be able to save everyone in Metropolis, let alone the entire world. So he's fighting a losing battle, and he's either going to fail or he's going to essentially collapse from exhaustion, which is extremely dark if you think about it. But
it is.
And I can't believe the show actually went as far with it as they did, because we literally see him collapsing. And listen, if you collapse in the street, it's dangerous. You could hit your head. But when a super being is flying from 100 feet in the air and comes crashing down at tremendously high speeds, that's dangerous. And we see kind of the ramifications of that. We see him ramming into cars and crashing into the sidewalk, and the people start becoming afraid of him because they start realizing like, hey, this guy is kind of strong, and we do trust him implicitly, but maybe we shouldn't, right?
It's almost like a better depiction of this compared to Superman 3.
Yeah, with Nuclear Man and Evil Superman.
Wrong one. That was question.
Oh yeah, that was a question for you. Superman 3 was Richard Gere.
Yes, where he gets drunk.
Yes, here he gets drunk at the bar. See, I thought that was in. I've merged the two of those movies together, but yeah, not my favorite superhero movie is those two.
No, hence the compliment to this portrayal.
Yeah, so good. There's so much we have to talk about. Like, I feel like we barely scratched the surface. You were right. That did seem like a proto version of the Suicide Squad, especially when Silver Banshee goes around a work release program, which is kind of what the Suicide Squad is. When you really think about it, they're a work release program.
Yeah, and they're also assholes arguably bigger assholes.
Big time. The name of this episode is Black Zero. I feel like we heard it referred to by a different name earlier in the season. I feel like they referred to it as 0 Day. Or was it 0 Day? No, okay, it is 0 Day. I thought the episode was Black Zero. That's what they called it in the Snyderverse. So I was gonna make that connection, but there is still the connection that they both kind of have that same name for the impact point of this. This episode introduced. Well, before I talk about more DC lore, I feel like we still have to really talk about Lois in this episode too, because she's struggling with this revelation that she was given this orb by Mixie showing these alternate versions of Superman, and she's struggling with like, I know my Clark is not this, but could he become this? And then as she sees him falter this episode.
Right, but I think that's kind of where her whole normal spiel is originating from, to where she's like, I've seen this potential worst version of you, don't be that. But what she's unintentionally like implying, like I said earlier, is she's also telling him like, so don't be yourself then.
Yeah, but by not telling him the whole truth, because she could have in that moment just taken out the orb and said, hey, look, this is what I was shown, this is why you need to slow down, because this is what the people might see you as. Yeah,
but at the same time, I think he would simultaneously probably also beat her at the implication that she thinks he would even become that. So it was kind of a no-win situation. It's a no-win 100%. Situation at that point in the episode. Yeah. You want to know what I really found interesting, which they really hammered home, not in such an obvious way, but obvious enough for it to really stick, is the comparison of Superman to immigrants in this episode. Obviously, like, Superman connects with a lot of people. I think Superman's the world's greatest orphan, and Superman's the world's greatest immigrant, because he is an immigrant to this planet, let alone this country. So you kind of hear those talking points from people and from Vicki Vale that you hear about immigrants in the news and certain news channels and certain personalities, and I really like how they're tying that together, because it's showing us, the audience, like, hey, if you don't think this would happen, we're taking real world quotes that are happening to people today, and we're putting them in the context of this series about someone who has the power of a god. So if you don't think that people would respond this way, this is what you guys say now. Yeah, pretty much. And what's so crazy is, like, if you actually think about it, that's been a prolific message in a lot of superhero media recently. I mean, you got Secret Invasion, we just saw Blue Beetle, so it's actually crazy how applicable that messaging is in these kinds of stories. And I think it just hammers the whole point you're making further. These people we idolize would still be looked upon down for the sole purpose of they're different. And they're not normal. They're different. Different equals dangerous. Or just bad in general. Bad in general. And I really like that they tackled that in this episode. We were given Vicki Vale our first mention of Gotham, I believe. Maybe. I'm getting everything mixed up now. We also got our first mention of Queen Industries. And I love when this show tackles this much, they still feed us DC fans. We have our first mention of Queen Industries. We have Vicki Vale. We have Gotham. We have the Gotham Gazette. We have, I feel like they mentioned something. Oh, the Falcone crime family was mentioned in this episode as that she took down. I'm sure you did, Vicki. I'm sure it wasn't Batman that did it. And we can kind of
maybe infer that Batman exists in this universe from the way that Vicki behaves in this episode?
I think you have to. I mean, first of all, we know that the individual Bruce Wayne most likely has to exist already.
Yes.
She exists. And that's why I was curious, like, I only know Batman 89 Vicki Vale, so I have no context as to how she normally is. But yeah, with all those other mentions, and Gotham especially, I think that goes hand in hand with Bruce.
Yeah, the way she kind of says Superman's a vigilante, an unchecked vigilante.
And it's like, oh, who else could she possibly be talking about?
Maybe she views Superman this way because she has experience with an unchecked vigilante.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe. That's where I was getting the implication from.
Absolutely. But no, it was very interesting seeing literally any other depiction of her for the first time since 89.
I was shocked. That was a pleasant little surprise. But again, like, I didn't expect Mixie last episode, so I really like how we keep getting surprises.
Well, to be fair, they at least kind of foreshadowed Vicki, because there was that poster or flyer with her name earlier in the season.
You're right, that you caught in episode 1, I think, 1 or 2.
It was one of them for sure.
Yeah, you're right, 100% right. So they did kind of foreshadow that, her introduction, which is interesting, because now I kind of want to go back and look in the background of every other episode. Because they did hint at the appearance of Mala and the Brain too, so that's a really good catch by you, Nikki. Good job. But there's so many other things we have left to. So I feel like we've been talking forever,
I know.
and we barely scratched the surface. This is. I'm assuming this is, like you said, this is probably the first part of a 3-parter.
It has to be if it's a 10-episode season. There's 2 left, so it's like worst case scenario. None of these are even bad case. So potentially next episode is part 2, and maybe they do something different for the last episode.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's unlikely.
I think just from the title of the episodes alone, I can kind of infer the structure of this. Most likely, I think the next episode is going to be the background of the General.
Yes.
We're going to get the explanation behind Zero Day and the tech, the Kryptonian tech, and Superman. And then the third and final part is going to be the rescue of Clark and Superman. Jimmy and Lois are going to come help their pal. And it's going to be like a breakout, a heist type episode, maybe.
Maybe.
But that's kind of where I feel like we're going. I'm so excited. This series continues to floor me. I was so engaged in this episode that I was really hard pressed to pick up on all the references, but I'm sure if I go back and watch it again, I will be able to fill you in on all the comic book references. But guys, you're gonna have to let me, you're gonna have to cut me some slack on this one. This episode was a lot.
I think that's definitely a way to phrase it.
There was a lot going on. I have to say, I love the fight scene at the end, because it was so reminiscent of like a Dragon Ball Z fight scene. We started in the air, and it kind of felt like a Goku fight scene, right? Where he's kind of flying around, and all these guys are zooming, and everything's zooming, and fire's getting shot, and electricity's being fired, and parasites and everyone surrounds him, and I'm like, it's felt so anime.
It did. I think you just really want to watch Dragon Ball Z.
I do. That's neither here nor there. I do think that this show but again, we know the show has so many different anime influences in terms of the design style, and I really think there were so many. I mean, even the ground fight, I think I got a little Naruto. I picked up on a little Naruto-esque fight scenes in that as well. So there continues to be a ton of references to anime and comics, but I don't know what to say. I feel like I've been talking for 20 minutes. I could talk for another hour and a half, but I think we'll have to save it for another video or part 2 of this 3-parter.
Potentially.
If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest content. If you want to catch our other My Adventures with Superman reactions, click the link on the page. And until next time, guys, stay versed.